If you're making good money, you might be thinking, do I really need a budget? And honestly, I agree. At least not the kind that you probably tried before. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 common myths about budgeting. And make sure you stick around till the end because I'm going to show you exactly what to do instead. Let's walk through the 5 biggest budgeting myths that I see come up again and again. You might recognize yourself in one of these, so if one hits close to home, just post in the comments below, makes sense, and I'll know what you mean. Number 1, I make good money, so I don't need a budget. When you have a good income and you're able to freely buy whatever you need whenever you want without even thinking twice, you might think that you don't even need to have a budget. But here's the thing, budgeting isn't about restriction, it's about clarity. High income doesn't necessarily mean high clarity. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should always say yes. And you can't answer that yes or no question confidently without having the clarity that a real budget provides. The problem is that traditional budgeting often feels restrictive, time-consuming, or like you're being micromanaged. And that's not really what you need. You have the income, so you don't need to penny pinch. But the clarity from a tailored budget that focuses on cash flow helps you make confident and empowered decisions both for the long term and the day-to-day. And that's exactly what we're after. Number 2, I can never stick to a budget, so what's the point? Maybe you've tried budgeting before and every single month it always gets derailed, you can never follow it, and it's like, why do you even bother? But the issue isn't you, it's that the budget wasn't realistic. Here's another downfall of traditional budgeting. It often sets you up to fail. It doesn't ask what matters to you, it just provides caps or percentages of things that you need to fit your life into. But if you try to fit your life into someone else's, it's an unrealistic budget for you, and of course it's not gonna work. Instead, what I help my clients do and advise to them is to make a budget that aligns with their values. Spend where it brings joy and peace of mind and progress, and be more mindful in the areas that matter less so that you can know you can spend your money, but that you also have money still set aside to reach your short-term and long-term goals. When your budget is based on your life and not someone else's template, it works because it finally feels doable. For example, those Amazon purchases might seem really small, but they can add up quickly. It might be robbing you of your future travel expenses where you find the most value and joy in your life. If you laid it all out on paper, you'd likely realize that all of those memories and experiences are worth way more than all the things that you buy on an impulse buy. When your money supports the life you want, your spending becomes empowering, not stressful. Number 3, budgeting is only for people in debt or struggling. Budgeting has a reputation for something that you do when you're just barely getting by. But the truth, the most confident clients I work with use budgets proactively and as a tool, not as a last resort. What do I mean by that? I had a client that budgeted while they were in debt, and then they got out of debt and they were feeling good. But over the years, as their income increased, they drifted. They weren't back in debt anymore, but they definitely weren't in control. I hear this a lot. We make good money, so why is it so stressful? Budgets aren't just to get us out of debt. Budgets are meant to help with direction, alignment, and having the information we need to feel secure both now and into the future. Number 4, I check my credit card balance, so I'm fine. Checking your credit card balance might feel like you're staying on top of things, but on its own, it's not a plan. It's a snapshot of what has already happened and not a plan for what's coming up next. I had a client who swore they would keep an eye on things, but the credit card balance kept growing month over month, and they finally couldn't figure out why nothing was left towards their savings or their goals. So instead of reacting to the number after the fact, you need to set up some boundaries. I recommend setting up a weekly limit. Once you have that number set up, then yes, checking on your credit card balance works. If you take a look at the video above, that's where I mentioned the weekly check-ins that I advise my clients to do, and this credit card balance check would fall into that. And last but not least, number 5, if I have a budget, I'm good. Some of you might have created a budget in an app or a spreadsheet and called it good. But if you haven't looked at it in weeks or months, maybe even years like I've heard from some of my clients, that's not a budget. That's again, a snapshot. A true budget evolves, gets reviewed, and actually guides your decisions. It's all about adapting to life as it actually happens. It's not static and at one point in the future. All right, so you've stayed till the end, so now I get to tell you the truth. What kind of budget does actually work? Here's the kind of budget you want to set up. One that creates clarity. You know exactly what's coming in, what's coming out, and what's left. No more guessing, just clean numbers that make sense. Next, you want a budget that gives you a plan. Instead of wondering, should I buy this? You already know. You set a weekly spending limit that aligns with your goals, and you're checking in regularly, not just reacting when your credit card balance feels high. Number 3, it reflects your values. You're spending on what actually matters to you, whether that's travel, investing, home upgrades, experiences, or charity, and not letting all of those Amazon purchases chip away at your goals. And lastly, your budget should reduce stress and second guessing. No more looking back at credit card statements or bank statements and wondering what happened. Remember, tracking isn't budgeting. It's not about having a stricter budget, it's about having one that actually works for how you live. But here's the next challenge I see all the time, especially with high earners. They make big money decisions like remodeling the house or booking a trip and then question it afterwards. Not because they didn't have the money, but because they didn't know if that was the right move. I'm going to show you how to move forward on those purchases with confidence, not hesitation. Check it out in this next video.